Greetings, programs, and welcome back to part 14 of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Rins Path. Well, we're on to something today, so yeah. Let's just continue on from where we left off, shall we? I hold true to my promise of honoring Rin's request, even if it's against my own will. I try to redirect my focus into my studies, but end up zoning out during classes and doing only the minimum amount of work required. Still, I start looking into my post-high school options a bit more seriously. I pore over university brochures and various career paths. I'm good at studying, so I want to go to a university. I'm pretty sure I could get into a pretty decent one, too. The only problem is deciding which subject would be best. Kenji ridicules me about subjecting myself to the control of feminist teachers when I tell him about trying to get into university. I don't ask him about what he wants to do in the future. He wants to build bomb shelters. I wonder what Rin thinks of her own future. I bet she's not as lost as I am. And if she is, she's probably in some completely different way. I feel somewhat disappointed in finding out that I can't stop thinking about her. Her request makes me worry about her and think about her more than I did when I could go see her when I wanted. It bothers me that I can't. As expected, I eventually crack. Naturally. Late one afternoon, I get on the bus heading downtown. I try to avoid explaining to myself exactly why I'm doing this, and keep thinking about other things for the entire duration of the trip. After a 5-minute walk, I'm standing in front of the gallery. I walk past it to the door of the atelier, but at the last moment I lose my courage and continue on all the way to the next corner, at which point I turn back. Will Rin hate me if I go and see her? I wonder what she's like when she's angry. I've never seen her angry. The worst thing would be if I actually ruined something by going to see her, like she seemed to imply would happen. But there's no way that can be true, can there? It's just one of her quirks. I walk back down the street and end up passing the atelier door for the second time. Only this time, as I continue all the way to the gallery, its owner is standing just outside the door watching me. I thought that was you. What are you doing? I really don't want to explain the circumstances between Rin and I, so I get flustered and end up mumbling something unclear. She takes stock of me and then sighs deeply, looking wryly amused somehow. I hope she didn't misunderstand. Would you like to come in? Your teacher's visiting. We were discussing Rin's exhibition. Thanks for the invitation, but I really should. Don't be shy now. Come on in. Okay, if you insist. I follow Sae inside, finding that our art teacher is indeed there. Nomiya standing at the big desk, contemplating what looks like an invitation card. Look what the cat dragged in.
Nakai! Hello there, my boy!
He doesn't seem to be at all fazed by my appearance. How do you like the invitations? Pretty. Freaky a little, but pretty. I glance at them quickly. They're kind of fancy, with one of Rin's paintings printed on the front cover in shiny gold writing. They look fine to me.
They're magnificent. I absolutely love the design. And the embossed gold lettering? They're fabulous. Good print work, too. You have to tell me where you get these done.
What does Rin think? I haven't asked. She said she'd be fine with my decision anyway. Nomiya laughs boisterously, still turning the gold-lettered card in his hands.
That's my girl. She wants to focus on the essentials only. Good for her.
Her work is progressing well, too. It seems she's found new inspiration. I think she's been sort of weird lately. It's like she's wrestling with something, with herself probably, and it makes her confused. She said she'd had a hard time painting last time I saw her. It seems to be resolved now, however. You know, she practically lives up there now, right? Sai makes a simple gesture with her hand as if sweeping my question aside. Sure. Don't you think that's weird? Maybe it is. Still, I think she understands how big an opportunity this is and is going for it full throttle. Is it really that big? Nomiya sets the card down and brushes some imaginary dust off of his pink jacket. It's a pink jacket. Maybe it's orange.
Well, how should I put it? There are times in everyone's lives where something really big washes over you and changes you forever. This could be just that moment for Tezuka.
I see. Yeah, I think I've had something like that happen to me. I'm referring to the incident that brought me to Yamako. However, neither of the two adults comment on that.
It might well be that everyone has, or will. At any rate, surrendering oneself to art is a big decision. And a thorny path, too. Quite thorny indeed.
A little thorny.
Tezuka has almost everything one needs, but whether she has the will to pull through, that's a different question. I should know that best. I tried going down this path too, but turned away in the end.
I don't understand what he's trying to say. Oh, well, spoiler alert, that's the choice I'm going to pick. At least I think that's the one I want to go for. Yeah, this one, it doesn't really differentiate the except for the conversation in the moment. Is that why you're being so supportive of Rin? Because you know it's hard? Sai answers me instead of the art teacher. Maybe, partially. Does it bother you? Well, no. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I just don't get it. Like, the atelier? It's an amazing place, but it's not been used in who knows how long. And now that Rin came out, 17 years and 4 months. I raise my eyes to meet Sai's. A calm, calculating stare, not unlike Rin's own, is fixed upon me. Nomiya's usual smile has suddenly died too. It feels like the air pressure in the gallery has suddenly dropped along with the temperature. That's how long it's been since someone worked there. Oh. Shadow of the Truth. Drama. I guess there's a story to everything. Sae crosses her arms with a quiet sigh and leans against the table. The atelier belonged to my husband. He was an artist too. He lived up there. Well, we both lived up there for some time after we got married. We actually met through him, as a matter of fact. Oh, that was Nomiya.
But we actually met through him, as a matter of fact.
That's right. Anyway, we were young and foolish, or at least I was. We were studying art at the same school, art history for me, painting for him. And as he just said, this was about the time I met your teacher. Anyway, I fell madly in love with this person. Or maybe his art. She's talking about her husband, not Nomiya. Christ. He was brilliant. His genius just shone so brightly wherever he put a brush to canvas. Her voice takes on an almost reverent sort of tone as she reminisces about her husband. I look at her hands and notice that she's not wearing a wedding band, and on top of that she keeps speaking in the past tense. He really was the kind of artist who would make the history books, one with a direct line to God. That's what I thought anyway. Silly, isn't it?
I think we all knew that he was something else back then, even the teachers.
That genius, well, I'd say it consumed him. Everything, absolutely everything was second to art. Be it social life, getting a job, or even me. It just wasn't as important. It seems that artists can't look at their work as just a job, you know? It's something more fundamental to them. It was hard to live with a person like that. Hard to be married to a person like that. She takes a pause and looks to see if I understood. I guess the point of this story hasn't emerged yet. That or your thick head missed it. So how did you cope with it? My question, probably the exact one she was waiting for, draws a dry chuckle out of her. However I could. Sometimes it was hard. Sometimes I fooled myself into believing he would change. I pursued my own things too, so it was easy to just let him be. It's not like you can stop an artist from painting if he wants to paint. Plus, being with an artist is fascinating. I can't say that I hated it. Art schools are full of all sorts of posers and pretentious schmucks, but true artists are lovely people in general. I think that's why your teacher has taken such a shine to our little kitten. She really has the makings of an artist, and a good one at that. She wants to paint. She must paint.
Quite so. She's the best student I've ever had.
It's just about her finding her own way now. Maybe that's why I wanted to give her this chance. If she goes to an art school, it'll be good for her. Artistic expression is about finding one's own place to be, your own limits, and then working with that. To expand them, to break them, whatever works best, but you have to know the limits of what you can do. Anyway, long story short, my husband was a person without these kinds of limits. An unique individual. But a human being can't endure a thing like that. He died young. After he was gone, I couldn't stand the atelier anymore, and tried to forget it. That kind of thing happens. You could say that his flame was bright, but brief.
Her story comes to an abrupt end, but it doesn't seem like she's going to go any further.
Nomiya toys with the invitation cards lying on the table, as if doing something just for the sake of doing it. But what if Rin is like your husband too? What if she's a person who has unlimited potential? Sai's hand twitches, and I see once more that sad look welling up in her eyes. It's the look she gets when she watches Rin. The look by which she remembers her husband. I doubt it. Sai stands up and digs in the pockets of her jacket for a cigarette and a lighter. Her hands are shaking. I'm going out for a smoke. Wordlessly, Nomiya and I both decide to follow her after a moment. It's already dark outside. That was quick. Sai is standing with her back to us, taking sharp, occasional drags on her cigarette. Its weak amber glow illuminates her face, framing her sharp jawline. Again, with the artistic expression.
Maybe it's best to call it a night. I could give you a lift back to school if you want, Nakai.
You're not going anywhere, Shinichi. I need a drink. We're going to that place at the corner. The teacher looks at the old lady, then shrugs at me apologetically. It's no problem. I'll just catch the bus back. I'm headed upstairs to see if Rin will come back to school with me. I think she's been staying overnight here too often lately. Sai locks the front door of her gallery and links arms with the old art teacher. I feel strange looking at them. I wonder what it feels like to have friends you've been with for decades, for most of your life. I can't imagine it. The two of them start making their way down the street towards the bar on the corner, so I quickly head upstairs to the atelier door, ready to get to what I originally came here for. I climb upstairs and enter carefully. Okay, folks. I'm going to take a quick break. So, yeah. Hang on, and we'll be right back to the action in a moment. Alright, folks, we are back. And I think we're ready to go. I climb upstairs and enter carefully. The room is dark because of the quickly falling night, but I can see Rin, or rather her silhouette, sitting on the floor. So she's got her inspiration back, like Sai said, and moved from easel to painting on the floor. Before I manage 5 steps, I stop, frozen in my tracks. The ironic realization that human cognitive ability is commendable echoes through my mind. For a mere movement of her shadow, it took me a fraction of a second to realize that something was awry, process what I was seeing, formulate the answer, and blush all the way to the tips of my ears. Rin is sitting on the floor with her legs under her. She moves in rhythmical motions back and forth, slowly grinding herself against herself. Her breathing is so heavy it's almost visible in the dim light. It's the heavy panting of one who doesn't have the option of breathing gracefully. Her hips, mere shadows against the dim light shining on her from above, are swinging circularly over and over again. She hasn't noticed me, so engrossed she is in her activity. The deadlock solves itself before I get a chance to think of what to do next. Something in the atmosphere of the room changes, a little thing, not consciously noticeable, but it changes. Perhaps a timid current from the open door, or a minute change in air pressure, the sounds of my breathing, even though I notice I haven't taken a breath for many seconds, the aura of my presence. That something catches Rin's senses. She stops moving, freezes, and slowly turns to the door. I imagine, not see, the horror on her face, like a fawn's eyes staring at a hunter. I wonder if Rin can see my expression, but at least she doesn't have the strength or the spirit to look straight in my eyes. So she droops her chin against her chest, letting her mess of hair hide her face from me even further. I feel like I should either walk out or walk to her, but I can't do either. I told you to stay away. Her words are defeated, painful, as if she was suffering. Rin doesn't have anything else than her shirt on. I can see the last wisps of the twilight against the pale skin of her thighs and bottom. There's no way I could back off anymore. I lost that chance, so that I do the next best thing. I quickly avert my gaze, even though Rin doesn't see what I'm looking at. I'm sorry. I didn't think. It's not like that. Her voice is raspy, shivering from held-back tears or something else. She's shaking, looking like she's physically in pain. It's not like that. I'm not going to bother reading this one. As soon as it stops, I'm just going to pause for a moment so you can pause and try to read it. Rin is mumbling her words into the air more than talking to me. It is the rambling, ranting, raving speech of a lunatic, even and steady in tone, but taking the form of a never-ending stream of words, almost simultaneously spawning from between her lips. It feels like she forgot if it's me who is present, or that someone is actually present. Maybe she vaguely recognizes what is real and what is not. Maybe in her mind I'm a voice inside her head. I look down at Rin's sorry figure, cowering on the floor with only the white shirt of her usual attire on. It neither preserves her modesty that is gone, nor her body warmth that she doesn't seem to care about. She looks more broken than I imagined a human person capable of, and the hospital and the school have given me some real perspective on that. I remember the hazy blue smoke and myself wondering what Rin would do for the sake of art. The realization that Rin really is always serious hits me with its entire weight. She really and truly would destroy herself if her art required it. I thought she was so silly with her strange ways, talking about personal change as if it was something sudden and concrete, like waking up. I had no idea. This is her. laid bare in front of my eyes, even in all possible meanings of the word. Complete isolation here on the top floor of this building, in this room, in her mind. Day after day, working on her paintings with no heed paid to anything else. Breaking herself to reach that which she wishes to reach. This obscene act that she does for reasons I'm not sure she herself understands. Why does she have to do this? I'm trying to connect the pieces, but I don't understand. I feel sad, scared, excited, disgusted, worried, and a number of emotions I can't remember the name of now. I feel conflicted. I should go. I'm really sorry. It doesn't matter. My voice is dry and quiet, like sandpaper coming out of my throat. I really am sorry. Sorry for seeing this. I don't want to see Rin like this. All I can see is her sadness, her stress and despair. Is this what a limit means? How could Sae and Nomiya let Rin go this far? Or is it me who's to blame? I almost walk out right there, but at the last moment I turn around, steel myself, and walk to Rin to crouch down behind her and lightly touch her forehead. She doesn't resist or react. I can't leave her like this. She's not well. She feels like she has a fever, freezing cold and burning hot at the same time. I wonder if she got sick from staying out all night with me back then. It seems she's prone to getting ill. There's a blanket on the couch, but I wrap my arms around Rin instead of fetching it. She doesn't resist my clumsy hug, only slumps her head lower, deepening the shadows hiding her face from me. What are you doing? Nothing. I'm not embracing her out of love nor out of forgiveness. For am I in love, or is she sorry? I just want to hug her. For a moment, the only sound in the room is her heavy breathing. My body warmth, shared between two people, is barely enough, but slowly, painfully slowly, it spreads from me to her. The small warmth returning to Rin makes me more conscious of her body against mine. Even in the darkness, I can feel the fleeting scent of Rin's hair, the sweat on her skin, the dried paint stuck in her shirt. I feel the hardness of her bones and the softness of her flesh. Her heartbeats echoing mine, out of rhythm just like always. The hot blood rushing inside me reminds me why I said what I said back then, why I came here even after that, why I'm here again tonight, why I'm hugging her now to keep her safe against the cold and the sadness. Rin has really grown on me inside my heart, claiming a small part of it as her own, even without particularly trying. Rin. Even if she wanted to push me away, I can't help this feeling. Are you alright, Rin? I'm not. I think I broke. I painted. I painted some really good things. Incredible. But it hurt me. I can't handle this. Her voice cuts out, as there are no more words for her to say. It's not an angry voice, nor a sad voice. It's a lifeless voice. I pet her head and shoulders, the physical equivalent of saying there. It's not like I could reassure her with the sweet nothings that people are supposed to say in this kind of situation. I'm not sure she would even listen, or be reassured. She didn't react much to my embrace either, as if she didn't care. Maybe she doesn't. At least she doesn't care if she looks sad or not. There are no facades, no attempts to explain herself, no faux happiness. Rin is honest. Hisao, what is it? You're my friend, right? Right. Will you do me a favor? I can't fix this, but I'm not finished yet. Her dry voice is a mere whisper, but the strength, her last, is in it, delivering her meaning much more clearly than her words. I can feel Rin's heart beating against my chest like a scared little bird. Her entire body is shivering from her fever, from her fear, from her despair. My brain is fast becoming overloaded with the myriad of thoughts this encounter spawned, but I have to push them all aside. I snuggle my nose against her earlobe, which is soft and cold, and her hair, which smells good and tickles me. Alright, I'll do it. I whisper in her ear reassuringly, trying to make her calm down. It works at least halfway, as Rin closes her eyes and leans against me, as if searching comfort from my warmth. But this is not something that friends should do. We can't be friends anymore? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just relax. Even though I said that, I'm on the verge of breaking myself. If I wasn't so nervous, I'd laugh at my own nervousness. She wants to be comforted, and I want to comfort her. But in this way? I move my hand lower, touching the naked skin of her stomach, caressing Rin with my hand. Her muscles contract timidly, evading my touch, but soon they find their trust in me and relax. There was one warm place left in her after all, emitting heat that gets even warmer as I move my hand lower. I touch her carefully from down there, feeling the place where the lines of her thighs converge. It feels burning and swollen, soft and smooth. She opens under my touch, inviting my fingers to touch her more. Rin gasps at the contact of my hand, and her voice is not of pain or surprise. I realize I've been holding my own breath and let it go in a long stream of air out my nostrils and into her hair. Don't tickle me. Sorry. Don't stop either. Sorry. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just faking it. It's okay. I don't know what I'm doing either. I enter her, moving my fingers up and down, in and out, touching her from everywhere. First slowly, then faster. I listen to the subtle signs Rin's body gives, hoping that she can guide me as I can't see what I'm doing. Her breathing gets heavier by the moment, spurred on by my exploring fingers. Rin's hips start moving in the same rhythm as me, guiding me deeper. She turns her head, looking at me from the corner of her eye. I wonder what she sees, but what I see in her almost scares me. The passion in her eyes is like nothing I've ever seen. Her dark eyes like two black stones against the moonlit skin of her cheek. I kiss her gently on the cheek, right above the bone. My lips are coarse and dry. My right hand moves upward of its own accord, under the white cotton of her shirt, to caress the underside of her soft breast. Sweat gleams on her skin, making it slippery under my hands. She breathes in sharp, quick intakes in unison with the pushes of her insides against my fingers. I can feel her heat burning through her shirt against my chest. I move faster and she moves faster, our primitive instincts blinding all reason, as her fever becomes sweat drenching her shirt and her skin. Her passion becomes my own, growing inside of me. All these feelings unravel into their basic components. Her softness, her wetness, her hotness, her sadness are the only things that I think, the only things I can think. Ah. I push Rin over the edge. Her entire body contracts around my fingers in a blinding, deafening, paralyzing spasm. Her voice is incredible. I never thought it could be so violent, so absolute for a girl. Later, I would come to think that this was finally the moment when Rin fully let herself go, and in one single instant destroyed and rebuilt herself, just like she'd wanted. Whether it's the truth or not, I couldn't say, but that's how I felt. Rin gasps for breath like she's drowning, returning to reality because she has no other choice. Her entire body is still in the throes of the slowly dying moment. Pearls of sweat are glistening on her forehead. I'm feeling my own heat inside of me, but now the spur of the moment is gone, and I don't know what to say to Rin, who is panting, hot, and ecstatic in my arms. Her shirt, wet with sweat, is glued to her back, revealing hints of her shoulder blades and waistline. She feels limp, weak, exhausted. I reach out for the blanket and wrap it around her and me. Rin doesn't resist me. She's drained of all strength. What will happen now? I don't know. Nothing, I suppose. You look tired. I am tired. It feels strange. Like I lost something. I mean, something else than my marital purity. Don't say something like that. Neither of those things. I don't want to lose you. What does that mean? I'm not going anywhere. I'm afraid that you are. All the time. In that moment, I felt that it was not only Rin who lost something of hers. I felt like I was losing a part of myself, or maybe all of me. But if you were to ask me what it was that was lost, I couldn't say, because I'd already forgotten it. I broke another promise by coming out with my honest feelings for Rin. That's 2 in one day. I hate the distance between you and me. So every time it gets a little bit closer, I become afraid of losing it. That's weird. I guess so. You mind if I sleep a little? No, I guess you don't. You like watching, don't you? She closes her eyes and swallows with a loud gulp, trying to relax herself, fighting against the urge to paint. Yes. Yes, I do. Rin moves her body in my arms, searching for a comfortable position in our very uncomfortable position. She leans against me, closing her eyes, and lets one long last breath out before settling into the steady rhythm of sleep. With her last moment of awareness, she whispers something to me, but I can't hear it. Rin drifts deeper into sleep with a deep sigh that releases all remaining tension from her muscles. I try to shift around to place both of us more comfortably. It takes a while because I don't want to wake up Rin, even though she probably wouldn't, but eventually I find a position that I'm somewhat comfortable with. I lean against the soft cushions of the couch and breathe in the cool air of the atelier. Rin's head rests against my chest as if she was listening to my heartbeats. Echoes of her dream ripple as small twitches on her face, like a cat sleeping the mouse hunter's dream. The full moon, shining with pale light upon us from beyond the skylight, reflects from the blank canvas forgotten on the easel. Its whiteness is glowing against the dark of the atelier. Well, that was certainly something, wasn't it? So, okay, for episode 14 of Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Rin's Path, I'm your host, NeoMegaMan, and I'm signing out. End of line.